Hi everyone, this is Nadia, this is Jake, this is our buddy boy, and that's our Sedona girl. Our babu boy is sleeping right now, so he may join us a little later. Today we're going to talk about The Strays, which is a Netflix original. It was number one when we watched it. It's not anymore.
For a reason.
Yeah,
I'm
and
sure.
boy, we really have to discuss it. So we'll start out with the non-spoiler section as always and move into the spoiler section. Oh my God. I just have to say, this is like one of the worst movies I've ever watched.
It is? I loved it. I'm kidding. We watched it together. We didn't talk about it afterwards, but I could tell that you weren't...
Well, we were both like, WTF.
Mixture of confusion, boredom...
It feels
hilarity.
Yes. It feels like it's going to be a scary film. It's not that scary.
It starts off interesting.
It starts off like...
Feels like a mystery.
Yeah, but it is a mystery, but it's not the best mystery. Main character just sucks. And it seems like the writing and the plot was not developed.
No.
It felt like the characters were saying things without any true background or motives.
It felt like it was starting out, the story was like starting out strong to be like a mystery, and then the writing and the directing wanted to be like above a mystery thriller and be like, no, this is more about vibes and about surreal feeling, and like it was all theme focused. I think my biggest thing when we were watching, I was going, this is what happens when you write a movie trying to just do theme and all the
without characterization,
without character, without realism or plot motivation. Like it just was all theme focused.
Have you ever gone to a party where everyone took some kind of substance? They're all like really just like not in the real world, and you are the only one who didn't take anything, and you're the only one who can think, why am I here?
Yeah.
I felt that way. I felt like I was invited to a party that I accepted where I didn't know anyone. It was honestly so bad, and it feels like it was there were some like interesting themes that it tried to explore, but it just didn't deliver on them.
Can I go into the plot real quick, because it is very thin?
Non-spoiler.
Non-spoiler. I'm just going to say it starts off, there's a woman who's like leaving her abusive partner. It seems like that's the image you get, and then it becomes widescreen, and it's very obvious that it's years down the road. She's living a very posh life in England somewhere, and she has a white husband, and she has 2 kids, and headmaster at a private school or something. They're doing very well in life. But it gives off creepy vibes where it's like she's always scratching under her wig, and it's like there's the impression that she's like being followed by people.
And then also, like, I'm sorry, just with the school thing that you're talking about, some of the things and dialogues they say are so clumsy. Like, it's like they're
they're having a meeting with...
Is that a spoiler?
No, but they're having a meeting with the school. This is early in the movie. They're having a meeting with the school board, and she's there too. And there's a line of exposition where they're like, you've done another wonderful year as the headmistress or whatever, and we're so grateful for you, even though we still haven't seen those references. And everyone laughs, and it's like, we're like...
That is a little weird.
Really? Like
it was just like it treated the audience like they were stupid, I thought.
Well, that's the problem. The audience was always one step ahead of it, because we could guess what was going on within the first 30 minutes. We're like, and the movie thinks it's so clever and flips it on its head halfway through, and you're just kind of waiting. Like, we get what you're doing. Like in the first 15 minutes, we were like, oh, it's doing a Jordan Peele thing. We're like, oh, this is social commentary, heavy, talking about race and commenting on that. And it was very obvious what it was trying to do. And that's all it did, and it just kept hitting that beat. It, like you said, it was treating the audience like we're stupid.
It was trying to be Jordan Peele without...
Yes, that's...
doing any of the developmental work that
and you focus on character. I mean, you watch a Jordan Peele film, it's like the social commentary is there, but it's also a good story with real characters.
The social commentary goes with like the character, their background, their history. There's the motivation there. Over here, it felt like you were telling me what the motivation was, but it just didn't seem to it seemed very surface level. It seemed like it didn't click.
I will say, in defense of the movie, the social themes are interesting. There are some interesting questions raised, about parenting, about race, about, being mixed race, about being social Black, mobility, all of that. Interesting for sure. But it would be just as interesting if I read it in an essay, because this movie had the subtlety of Sledgehammer.
Told you more than showed you.
Yes.
I would rate it a 2 out of 10.
Wow.
Yeah, if it wasn't for this review, I would have turned it off like 20 minutes in.
I made
I
you
honestly,
sit
this
through it,
review
yeah.
was the only reason I sat through it was for
Yeah.
you guys.
Well, and I knew it'd be a good review because we like talking about movies when they don't work usually.
I don't
Fun.
know. I contemplated if this was worth it.
There's so many
Part of
funny
me was just
scenes.
going to let you watch it and then me just like comment on the first 20
There
minutes.
are so many funny scenes and things that just get left that lead nowhere. And it's like, there were so many moments where it's like, oh, this could be an interesting scene. Any other filmmaker would try to bring some suspense in here or make it like an interesting set piece. But every scene where something interesting happened, it just sat there, was just like, nope, we're just going to do nothing. Especially the ending.
Yeah.
Especially the ending where it's like, oh, maybe finally something interesting. No.
Also, there's plot points that just doesn't deliver. We just never go back to it at all.
We'll get into that in spoilers. I mean, honestly, I feel like we just need to start going to spoilers.
What would you rate it and would you recommend it?
I would give
Obviously, I wouldn't recommend it.
I don't recommend it unless you want to, like, study it for what it does wrong, you know, but I would give it like a 3 out of 10.
Wow, I rated it lower than you. Spoilers
for The Strays.
Oh my god, the mother was annoying. First of all, if you made it
She was a
this
good
far,
actress, I think, but
the writing was really bad. So basically, she does leave her abusive husband, and then leaves her 2 kids who are black, and ends up like leaving them with the aunt who ends up not taking care of them. We find out.
So we find out, yeah.
And then
she left them.
Changes her name. Her real name is Cheryl. She changes her name and she marries a white person and she has mixed kids with her husband, Ian.
But before we find this out, we just see her watching these people following her, you know, this guy and this
whom
girl.
we learn to be like they're
but
her
we could
kids.
guess that before it happened. We were like, oh, I bet that's her kids. Because at first I was like, oh, maybe that's her abusive ex. But then I'm like, no, there's
but
a
she's
girl too.
acting like so out of character. Like she's like calm person, but at the same time, like she ends up yelling.
You
at
think
them.
she's maybe hallucinating them?
You think she's hallucinating? You think there's maybe some kind of horror from the past? You don't know 100%
like what's
if
going
they're
on,
real
something
or they're
interesting,
ghosts.
yeah.
But you know, one thing I really want to touch on that it's really crazy. First of all, her kids with her husband Ian don't obviously know about stranger danger because her daughter Mary, she meets her whom she doesn't know is her sister, and she's literally getting followed by a person, and then this person is inviting
So
her to a
awkward.
hotel room, and she just says, "Oh, sure, okay." Like,
It was trying to go for like a surreal. I could see what it was trying to do, like art.
but also
It just came off like student film.
the son Sebastian, the son of Ian, meets her, whom he doesn't know is a brother. The older kid, who is stalking Cheryl, ends up stalking and getting to her through her new son, I guess to say, and he ends up being a janitor, and he takes such a big interest within a day to her son's Sebastian's life, and Sebastian is like, "Oh, you're awesome, you're cool," and then literally he gives him she gives him weed, and then asks him to kill. This person,
there's a bully. He has a bully and everything,
him.
but he like keeps pushing these tests onto him in the course of like what feels like 24 hours.
It is 24 hours.
It
basically.
comes off insane because he's like, okay, have some weed, and then the devil lettuce, I guess, got to his head because then they're standing on a building. And he's like, stand up next to the edge. Do it.
And
then
the
kid he pees his pants, and then he encourages him to go. And this thread goes nowhere. He just puts a bag over the bully's head and then tells the kid to like do it. And the kid like brings his basketball down, and it seems like he killed him or brutally attacked him. Goes nowhere. We don't learn anything else about this.
But he also doesn't tell his parents, his mom especially, when he does find out that those are his siblings.
Yeah. It's just, the movie seems so weird to me because it's like, what is it trying to say? Because it's like, it's trying to say like these upper class British people who are like horrible, and the mom's horrible, obviously. But then it's characterizing the two kids as being psychopaths for no other reason. And like they just want to like invade their lives and just do evil or whatever.
To do evil to their siblings because their siblings ended up having mom and dad in their life and having like more of a stable life than they ever did. But then they also comment about like race in the sense that like the mom, she doesn't want to have to talk about anything black. That's literally what Sebastian says. And it's like at the same time, it felt contradictory that they showed these two black kids as like such psychopaths.
Well, if the movie had any like intelligence or was trying to do anything actually clever, I think it would start off where like what it does in the movie, like it seems like they're the bad guys, you know, the two kids, and then we see it from their perspective and they're actually the good guys, and the people we were following at first, the mom and the dad, they're actually the villains, you know? And I think that's what it was trying to do, but it didn't come across that way because the kids just seemed like psychopaths.
Well, I think like what they was trying to do was like the mom really hates this is how I interpreted it, that the mom is ashamed of who she is ethnic wise, and she's trying to really get rid of her blackness, and that also includes her black kids.
But that was so clear from the whole movie.
Yeah, so we didn't need to like be retold that over and over. That's what I mean, like treating audience like they're dumb. But also her more favoritism towards her kids that she had with Ian was that they're mixed with being white. So I think that was like one of the racial like commentary that it was making, is that like she was trying to erase that past to the point where she didn't want to like accept her identity as a black woman. But what I thought was really interesting was when the two older kids invade the house at the end, and they just seem so psychopathic because the girl's like, it's my birthday, isn't that awesome? And then the mom and dad just walk downstairs.
Well, and at this point, you don't give a shit about any of the characters because they all are psychopaths. The younger son, murdered some kid. The older son's a psychopath. The other daughter's something's wrong with her.
What about Mary?
The mom is
younger daughter
horrible.
is not bad.
She's not. She's the only one, but she's like barely a character, and Ian's barely a character.
Yeah, but those are the two ones who were fine,
yeah, you see this home invasion scene, and you're like, finally, the movie's going to do something interesting. They're going to come in, wreck shit. And they're like turning on the water and flooding the house. And the dad comes down and the mom comes down. They're just like, oh, what's going on?
They're so like neutral with their tone.
Like
that
this would be the
me.
point where it's like, we have conflict here. Let the conflict occur.
And
but
the
they
water
just all stand
running.
around.
Like the water noise was so annoying. They just keep standing around. They have no protection towards their kids. Like I would have been like, I would have gone bananas. I would have been like, okay, you guys are gonna go upstairs. You're gonna go out from the roof, or you're gonna call someone. And then also it's like so crazy because like they're literally going to the room, making so much noise, getting the phones and everything. But then they end up hearing, it just felt very unrealistic.
Well, and you'd think that in this moment, like she clearly values her new kids more, right? You'd think this would be the moment where she'd draw the defining line. She'd go to murder to kill her previous kids. And like it'd come to some kind of conflict.
Or the fact that she would redeem herself by actually protecting her older
because
kids.
Thematically, it's like, oh, these are the kids who are like the proper children that she sees in her eyes, you know, the ones that she had with this white man, and she's content with her life there, that she'd want to preserve that. The fact that at the end of the film, she just walks out again, it makes me question because the whole movie's theme focused. And then at the end, it's like, what was it even trying to say? You know, like, what is it trying to say about her as a character, about mother? The fact that she walks out on all of them is just like, what is the point of it?
Yeah, exactly. But
like, I thought silly.
I did think it was funny how like as soon as she sees her older kids in the home invasion, she just tries to make a run for it until her older son stops her.
I know.
And then it's like, oh man, she tried, but then at the end she ends up running away regardless.
I know.
And so
well, we could see that coming because we're like, she's in a state of mind at that point that's like removed from reality.
Well, she just says, okay, take two is a failure. Hopefully third time will be a charm. Kind of like she's fine starting over. She also tries to pay off her older kids in another scene that I think ticks them off more. But it sounds like they kept talking about the plan. So it sounds like their plan was always to invade the home and kill everyone.
Here's the thing. They were talking about the plan from the very beginning. What was the plan.
I assume it was the plan of home invasion.
But you think there's going to be some deeper plan because they come into this town, they're following around the kids, like they want to be connected to the kids somehow. They both get jobs quite easily, I might say. You know, she works at the dad's company, he works at the mom's school. What was the point of any of that?
I think like they were gonna do home invasion. Like,
why do they need to do that for home invasion? It makes no sense.
I think they were trying to how the older brother like ended up getting the little brother into doing criminal acts. I think they were trying to prove like these kids aren't better than us.
But they just forgot about
that. The older daughter, when the older brother found out that his sister that he grew up with invited the younger sister to the hotel and let her go, he was kind of pissed about it. He was like, what do you think you're doing? So anyway, I think that
none of it made sense to me.
I don't think it did. And basically the only thing that makes sense is that now that the moms left both sets, apparently it didn't have to do necessarily with, this is how I took it. It ended up feeling like it didn't have to do with race. The mom's just a selfish
No, it's like the whole movie is like setting it up to be about race.
Yeah, but then it ended up like the conclusion, the mom's act ended up being like she's just selfish she just but no, I do think it has to do with race. I do think that she's denying her blackness, but I think like her betrayal of her kids don't go beyond that. It's like she just doesn't care. She's very narcissistic, and it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, she's gonna put herself before her kids regardless. She would start over with whatever benefits her, whether that's being black or white is the way that I took it.
Or it's like her newer kids are half black, so it's like they're still like part of that she's trying to deny there, you know.
Could be that,
and maybe that the older kids, now that they're there and present, it's like it's so like convoluted in the way it was trying to send its message. It's very convoluted.
Honestly, the message gets lost. This is what we mean about like going with a theme and without any characterization or real development or real arc of anything. Honestly, I don't know. The way she wears her wig and she doesn't even let her husband see her without her wig, but like soon after she like ends up meeting with her older kids that she abandoned and tries to pay them out. You know, she takes her wig off and talks to her kids. I thought the forgiving scene was way too quick. They were all like, oh, okay.
Oh yeah, they were just like, oh, okay, we'll deal with this.
And then it's like no real emotions. And then also like, I always thought like, okay, when she takes off her wig and she's able to show what's underneath her wig, she's going to like, that's going to be her arc. She's going to come around, redeem herself, and she's going to like really show like, I accept myself no matter what kind of thing. Yeah. It's just, that
would have been a much more interesting movie. Like,
no, I mean, I think she was just like, what I ended up seeing was that she just was fed up and she's like, I'm tired of trying. I need to find a new family.
The movie was just like lazy. It just felt like.
It did feel like
it. Was just like, okay, here you go.
Yep.
First draft. I feel like I'm out of things to say. I don't even want to talk about it anymore.
Well, so we don't recommend it, but if you saw it, let us know what you thought. Yes. If you didn't see it, let us know if you've heard of it and if you've heard good things or bad things for it. And yeah, let us know what else we should watch. Otherwise, we'll talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon.
Bye.